getting loud. Cause we poppin' like all my bitches got real hair, tell me what the top down.
Annyeonghaseyo, this is Sheila Medallion, and today we will discuss about the 10 interesting facts about Korean culture. South Korea is the country of the art. Not only is Hallyu, the Korean wind, sweeping over the Western world, also traditional elements of Korean culture from kimchi to soju, while most likely your smartphone or parts of it, are gaining popularity worldwide. So, what there's to know about this unique peninsula? Here's everything you wanted to know and didn't know you wanted to know. From fun facts to cultural peculiarities, ladies and gentlemen, here are the 10 stunning facts about South Korea. Korean is all about education. Korean is constantly ranked world best in terms of education system and the knowledge of students as studies such as the PISA and the World Top 20 poll suggests. But not only that, out of all OECD countries, South Korea is the country with the highest tertiary university attainment for people between 25 and 34, and 68% of Koreans have graduated a university or a similar educational institution. It's no wonder then that education is a massive industry in this Asian tiger state, and that already in high school students spend up to 16 hours per day in school. Korean got their president impeached with a non-violent mass protest caused by many issues such as the lack of taking responsibility for the Sewol ferry disaster, as well as the corruption. Back in 2016 to 2017, millions of Koreans took to the street to protest against their president. On a side note, this president was Park Geun-hye, quite interestingly, right? This is the daughter of the aforementioned Alec dictator leader of Korea in the 60s and 70s. Their weapons is only candle and mass protest without any violence. So, about the Sewol ferry tragedy, as far as I know, sa tragedy to, 304 students yung namatay, and the reason kung bakit nag-sink yung Sewol ferry is because overloaded, and ang sinisisi ng mga Koreans kung bakit maraming namatay is because the Korean government is have a failure to handle that situation, and also the Korean Coast Guard. And I remember may nagsabi rin na yung Korean Coast Guard, sinabihan yung mga students na mag-keep lang doon stay lang doon sila sa pinagkakaupuan nila, and huwag silang umalis doon sa loob ng boat. And dapat maraming nakaligtas kung tumalon sila or nabigyan sila ng tamang guide. Pero yung mga Korean Coast Guard, lalo na yung mga kasama nila doon na mga mas nakakaalam, is iniwan sila. And that's the reason kung bakit maraming nag-protest, dahil nakakatakot,
사람이 진짜 죽을
nabagula
때는
lang sila, parang hinayaan lang sila
뒤쳐질 때라고 합니다.
sa very tragedy. South Korea has made one of the most impressive economic leaps in modern history. Back in the late 50s, South Korea was one of the poorest countries on earth, with a per capita GDP of $94 as compared to North Korea with $140 back then. It was below the poverty line. A controversial ruler, but most of all, a hardworking people changed this rapidly. In only about 20 years, South Korea turned from one of the poorest to one of the richest nations on earth. While it should not be forgotten that this is all happened under an alleged and rather inhuman dictator, this economical leap is unprecedented. The Korean national hero is an ice skater. Yoona Kim is everybody's darling in Korea. Just check out her Wikipedia. She's basically won everything possible and sort of brought the Olympics to Korea on her own. You'll always see a smile on every Korean's face mentioning the 3 syllables Kim Yoona. Did you know a soju brand is the most sold alcohol worldwide by far? Would you guess that vodka or gin top the list? Couldn't be more wrong. For years, Jinro Soju has been the world's best-selling alcohol. It might not be surprising, given that with 11.2 shots on average, Koreans are also the world's biggest consumer of hard liquor. haven't been able to try it yet, time to visit Korea. And also, this soju is available on your nearest 7-Eleven branch or on your nearest grocery store. So, it's not a problem anymore if you don't have enough time or budget to go on Korea just to try this famous soju or this famous Korean liquor. Kimchi is life, quite literally. Back in the days when Koreans were poor and winters were long, there was not much choice for Koreans but to ferment cabbage to be able to survive. In essence, this is how kimchi was born. This tradition is so deep-rooted in the Korean history and character that today you have a hard time going to a restaurant and not having any kimchi. It is always served as a side dish. No matter where you are, at Quiet Logical Den, that Koreans also say kimchi instead of cheese when taking photographs. And that's the root of the kimchi. Did you know that Korean respect rules? In Korea, people love to have a good time and they also love entertainment. But they are not crossing the line, upon intended. Even in bustling Seoul, you will rarely see non-tourists jaywalking or misbehaving. It's part of the identity and the culture to not cause too much trouble or problems for others. And also, you rarely see South Koreans break rules. It makes the country extremely safe compared to many other European countries. Korean love motels all around, something of a rather unusual concept for many Westerners. Love motels are big business in Korea. Love what? Love motels, which include rooms for several hours or one night, mostly designed for one very reason. They range from budget to luxury, from basic to kinky. And why all that? Most young Koreans live either in a dorm or with their parents until way past their student time. So this is not only mean for hookups. Quite the opposite. Many couples book a nice room for their date nights in advance.